Hello. Happy Thursday. I am getting ready to feed the pups. Pee-Pee is so sweet. I have to show you this because this is like my favorite with Pee-Pee. Oh, Pee-Pee, you stopped doing it, Pee-Pee. But he can't keep his tongue in his mouth because he has hardly any teeth left, so he goes like this. It's so cute. But anyway, we're getting ready to eat, aren't we, Pee-Pee? Wanted to show this shirt, first of all, to you guys, that Erica sent me with a very nice letter. Dad as FFF. And I love it. And I thought, she said she thought it would be perfect for it. It's a little tight on me, so I gotta lose a little bit of weight first. But not real tight. But I also have shirts like that coming out on my merch, but I'm so excited. I love that. It kind of reminds me of the Absolutely Fabulous thing. So yeah, so me and the dogs have just been... I had a meeting earlier today, and then I came home, and I was really, really tired. And so I actually got food first at Noodles and Company, and then I came home, and I got all the way home. I got all the way sat down to watch Chrisley Knows Best. And I had all my food sitting down there and ready to eat, and I opened it, and it was like this noodles and steak. So I got back in my car and took it back there. They were real... I was like, Peter, don't be nasty about it. So I was like, I haven't had any water today. I'm so thirsty right now. So I was like, Peter, just be real nice about it. And the girl felt so bad, and I was like, don't feel bad about it. I was like, this is the worst thing that happens to me in a day. You know that I'm doing okay. So anyway, I've been like carrying this metal cup around with me everywhere to drink water because it keeps water so cold in it, and I love it. But anyway, then after I ate, the dogs and I took a nap, and excuse me, and then Alex texted me and asked me if I wanted to go to that sushi place with him and his friend, and I was like, well, I literally just woke up from my nap, and I wanted to make videos today. So they're uploading right now, and I'm getting ready. And oh, I took a shower after I got up too, and did my hair. And I am getting ready to upload those. PB does not like this food that we got him. He gets real excited, and then look, he won't eat it. And yesterday, I do believe, he can smell it up there. Yesterday, I do believe that Tucker ate all of his food because Tucker had to go potty so much in the last 2 days. So today, when PB looks at it and he's done eating it, I've got to pick it up and take it away. I think that he has a hard time with it not having any crunches in it. So I'm kind of like mixing just a few crunches in it. Just a few. Because I think Pee-Pee likes that. Do you like that, Pee-Pee? And then, so Pee-Pee gets a half can. And then we split the rest of it between the babies. But I mix it in with a ton of dry food for them. Because the doctor still wants them on dry food. Can I just talk to you about something that's really interesting to me? Okay. I feel like this has happened to me a lot lately. Like, you go to social media, right? It just happened to me today on Twitter with somebody that I consider a friend, and that I, honest to God, have absolutely no idea what happened between us. So I went to go leave this person a message, and so I went to like direct message them, and I think I even have their phone number. But anyway, so I went to their Twitter, and I realized that like, this is no, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is no tea, this is no, like, shade, like, nothing like that. Like, you're not gonna be able to figure out who it is. It's nobody even knows. It's not like a celebrity or anything like that. YouTube celebrity. It's nothing like that. But I was like, it's someone that I've like known for a long time, you know? And so I went to their Twitter to leave them a message about something, and I was like, I noticed that they weren't following me anymore. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Not that they have to, it's just not that big of a deal. We follow who we want to follow, right? My old sponsor stopped following me, honest to God. He told me, PP, I'm gonna get you a little bit more hard food, hold on. Because he was like, you tweet so much, I just can't keep up with it. I just don't like to have it on my feed, you know? So, I totally understand that. It's not personal, right? So it may not be that. And I messaged them and I said, hey, is there a reason you stopped following me? Like, I didn't even notice, because like I never like, they hardly ever tweet. And like the only time I've ever had to get a hold of them is through like Twitter. But I hadn't noticed that before, you know? Pee-pee, it's coming, honey. So, but then it was interesting because it happened with a couple people on Facebook too. And I was like, now if you know me, you know I could give a rat's ass about Facebook, okay? Like, I mean, I really just don't care about Facebook at all. Hold on just a second. Let me go give them their food. Hold on. Come on, guys. Here you go. I'm coming, dude. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yum, yum, yum. So anyway, you know I don't really care about the whole like Facebook thing anyway, right? So, but it was two women that I have been friends with for a really, really long time. And I can say this now because I don't really give a shit if they get upset about it. So this one woman, I texted her and I said, do you guys know American Idol is coming back, first of all? I'm so excited. I cannot believe American Idol is coming back. But anyway, so I texted this woman and I was like, hey, like I haven't talked to you in a long time, blah, 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 whatever. Like I went to go look you up or something, like I was looking up a picture of something and I noticed when I went to look at them that we weren't friends on Facebook anymore. And I said, not that it's a huge deal. I said, but did you defriend me on Facebook? And she said, I did. She said, you're obviously too busy. This is not somebody that we were real close with either, okay? I mean, I wasn't that close to this person. And she said, I did. She said, obviously you are too busy for me in your life. It really hurt my feelings. You never like any of my pictures or comment on any of my pictures on Facebook. Okay. So anyway. And then the other one was interesting because, like, I texted her and then she called me and we started talking and we hadn't talked in a long time. And it was a friend of mine, a sober friend of mine, and we started talking and she was like, did you not know that, like, she wasn't in the life anymore for a while? She's back now. She's sober. So she was like, I kind of defriended all of my friends that were sober because I didn't want anybody to see it. So we actually had a really nice talk. She was like, thank you for reaching out to me. She's like, you're one of the only people that reached out to me wondering why I had defriended them, you know? So it's interesting, like, when you think about social media and, like, what it implies and what it means for the world and stuff like that, you know? The Kardashians are on the background. I'm watching it now, and then Alex will make me watch it later again, too. I mean, he won't make me, but I'll watch it with him. I don't know what it is. People do not agree with me on this one at all, but I think Scott Disick is so cute. Do you guys think he's so cute? I mean, he's so problematic. He's such a drunk, right? He makes me so sad. If he could stay sober, he would be, like, such a great guy. Because he's, like, so nice, and he's kind of funny and whatever, but he just can't keep his shit together. And Kendall Jenner is gorgeous. She's, like, one of the only of the Kardashian Jenners that I really like. I actually really like Kris. Pee-pee, go eat your food, honey. Eat it. And then here comes Kim Kardashian. Like, I've seen her in person. Her ass really is that big. Like, it's kind of unbelievable when you see it. You're like, oh my God. Like, this is crazy. They're at some fashion show. Do you guys watch the show? Oh, no, they're not. EIC, she's getting some, Kendall's getting some award. To get an award at 18 years old or 20 years old or whatever for being a model. I mean, would these people want to complain about their lives? I'm like, you live unrealistic lives. Could you find some gratitude in your life, please? Fashion Icon of the Decade Award. Give me a break. Who comes up with this shit? I'm spilling water everywhere. I like Kendall Jenner, okay? But Fashion Icon of the Decade? Fashion Icon of the Decade Award. Is that what she truly said? I might have got it wrong. And then she says she's afterwards, she's talking to Kim and Scott, and she's talking about how, like, her heart was thumping like this, and it's like a choir concert in high school or something to her, you know? I kind of wish sometimes I lived an unrealistic life like that for like 3 days. You know what I mean? So I could just come back to my normalcy and go, oh my God, I appreciate this so much. This is so fantastic. I mean, who would want that craziness all the time? I like picked up my camera and then it like shut off. So I don't know what happened. But Tucker is done eating. And then what he does is he goes into the kitchen and he starts eating Pee-Pee's food. And then Pee-Pee doesn't get to eat. And then, good boy, Pee-Pee, go eat some more of your food, honey. And then Pee-Pee doesn't eat, and then Tucker eats his food, and then Tucker eats way too much. Problem. Eat some of your dinner, honey. I'm gonna sit right here, okay, while you eat. Good boy, Pee-Pee. Let me check myself at the camera. Good boy, Pee-Pee. Do you like that? Is that real good? We think that he might be losing a tooth. I'm gonna get a spoon and see if I can feed him. He'll eat it off of a spoon. Come here, bud. Come here, Pee-Pee. Will you eat it off of a spoon? Oh, he will. Is that easier like that? Good boy, Pee-Pee. And then he drips it on the floor. That's okay, Pee-Pee. That's okay. You want some more? Aw. Good boy. You like the little chunky pieces, don't you? But like they're hard for you to eat. Come here, honey. See, look at this. You want a little bit of it? He says, no, Dad, I think I'm done. Here, look. Here, Pee-Pee, I can put some. You want some on the ground? Like, it's so weird after he eats. He gets kind of, like, really lethargic. You okay? Got him over there sitting. Can you see him? Hello, Pee-Pee. He said, okay, I'm ready for a nap now. Well, Tucker, I can tell you one thing that's not going to happen, because you're not going to eat that food. Because that's what happened last night, and then you ate way too much food. PP, I'm very proud of you. You ate more tonight than you did last night. That was a very good boy. Good boy, PP. Good boy. Oh, gotta help. You guys need some water, too. This is basically how much energy it takes to have 3 dogs. 3 children. This is why I'm not having children, actually. Because I have 3 dogs. My friend Lori was like, said something about going to the casino tonight, and then I texted her, and she's like, she already went today with her husband because he wanted to go during the day. I'm like, well, that's fine with me. I don't really feel like going anyway. It's too cold outside. I have like all these songs stuck in my head from last night. I'm ready for a week of beach, music, going out to eat, and fun in Miami. So, I kind of hinted at this in my 2 videos today on my Peterisms and my BookTube channel, so I'll talk about it on this. But this is kind of our plan that I haven't really talked about a whole lot. Is that, let me turn this down, hold on a second, and I'm going to lay up on this couch while my video is. But, so, you guys liked this the last time I did this. You said it was like you were laying around my house with me. It's kind of fun, isn't it? So anyway, so, our goal is not necessarily to, there's something yellow battery thing. How can that even be possible? I've only been talking on here for 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to talk until it shuts off. But anyway, our goal is to not move to Florida permanently. Our goal is to move back and forth. So, like, let's say, you know, the middle of January, we would go down to Florida and then stay down there for like a month or 2. Well, probably till, you know, we probably would go down, I don't know. We don't know how we would do it. Like a month and then come back for a week and go back and forth. In the summer, I would really like to be here in Indiana. I love Indiana in the summertime. Plus, a lot of my family is here. So I don't really have any desire to, like, leave Indiana full time. You know, people are always like, why don't you move to Los Angeles? Or why don't you move to, you know, out west where, like, people are doing YouTube stuff? And I think that's kind of like the dream of the younger YouTuber, honestly. And, you know, I think if I was 25 years old and I thought that realistically if I moved to LA that, like, people would be knocking on my door to do collabs and stuff like that, then I probably would move to LA. It probably would be, like, a thought, you know, to move out there. But nobody's asking me to do that stuff, and, you know, this is not my full-time gig. This is not my full-time thing, and it's been a dream of mine for a long time, you know, to move away and to be retired early and to write full-time. Writing is really, really important for me, so we're kind of going down there to look to see, like, how realistic it is to, you know, like, what living down there would be like and stuff like that, like how expensive it would be to live down there full-time. We want to see what areas we can afford. So many people have been really, really helpful. It's interesting because a couple people recommended some areas that, like Coral Gables area, which is very realistic for us. And we found some housing areas in their housing additions. Alex really wants to be like in a penthouse, like in an apartment in Miami. I would like to be more in a house. So, I don't know. We're just going to have to kind of discuss what we want. I think as far as having people visit and things like that, it's more realistic to have a house. But But the other thing is that we're moving to Florida to be close to the beach and to be close to South Beach. So like if we're going to have it here and be in the suburbs, and so basically when we are living here, we're like suburban, then it would only make sense to kind of have an apartment in Miami, you know, honestly, like a condo in Miami, like that would make more sense. So that when we were down there, you know, and then what we would probably do, we've talked a lot about just in the last week, is that we would, because he's trying to do a lot of contractual stuff, you know, like having not just clients that are close, but clients that are all over. And he has a position that with this friend of his that owns a business here, she wants to open something in Miami. So Alex could go back and forth between Indianapolis and Miami. And it's actually, and that's why it might happen sooner rather than later, but it's a perfect opportunity for us. And, you know, for me, I'm kind of in a position where I can kind of make my schedule however I want it to be. You know what I mean? So it's perfect for me because I don't have to like I could be here for 3 weeks and then be here for a week or not. You know, I can totally make my schedule any way that I want to make it. And so, Tucker, what are you doing, honey? Huh? Come up here, bud. Isn't he so sweet? Do you even know that the camera is on? Well, you did just kind of look at the camera, didn't you? You want to go to Florida? You want to go to the beach? Huh? Do you want to go swim in the ocean? You been to the ocean? You haven't been to the ocean before. What do you want to do? He says, I want to lay down with my dad right here. It just shut off. Literally just shut off because it said internal heat too high. So Tucker and I are trying to get at least another minute in on camera. Because I could never get him to be on camera. Can you guys even see him? Can you just see his ears? There's his ear. This is what we do. We lay here and watch the Kardashians. Tucker's a good, he cuddles a lot. He's a good cuddler for TV, aren't you? He goes, yeah, he goes, I pretty much get A+ in cuddles at school. You do? He says, yeah, I'm a good cuddler. So anyway, come here, come here. Come here, honey. So this is our night. And Alex went to dinner at like 8 o'clock, so he should be home soon. They have always the longest dinners. Like, who can have like a 2-hour dinner? I'm gonna text him right now. Be like, where are you at? He'll be like, we're still at dinner. I asked him to bring me this sushi roll called, yeah, they went to dinner at 8 o'clock. I said, I would like the Thai hippie roll. Are you guys still there? Are you guys still there? They sit and talk about all their business ventures, and then they have drinks, and then they're like, we're so bougie. No, they're not like that. It's like 5 minutes from here, though. Look at Scott Disick's new hairdo. Do you guys like Scott Disick's new hairdo? Oh, here he is. He's calling me. Hello? Are you on your way home? Oh, okay. Well, I'm vlogging as we speak, so I'll just see you in a couple minutes, okay? I'm ready for my Thai hippie. Did you get it for me? Okay. Alright, I'll see you in just a little bit. Alright, love you, bye. So he's actually on his way home. He just pulled out of the, Rich Lux just texted me. He's like, where's your video? The world is waiting. He's so funny. It's rendering because I got up so damn late. I usually check with the other drama channels to make sure that I'm not posting the same video that they post in the same day. I didn't even check. I don't really care about like certain of them, but like he just sent me a Judge Judy gif. He just sent me this. Come on. I'm gonna send him a gif of Big Ange back because I love her so much, and I have. I sent him. Do you guys want to see the gif that I sent back of Big Ange? So whenever people like text me and they like want to try to get cute, I always send them Big Ange from Mob Wives because I love her so much. I always send her them. This is the one I sent. The camera keeps on shutting off, and I don't know why. But anyway, I was showing you guys the GIF, and this is the GIF. The Big Ange GIF. Look at all the fucks I give. Isn't that so funny? I'm so funny. Are you guys like, why are you vlogging now and not in your car later? Because... sometimes later, because like I'm going to do a live stream here in a second. I'm going to eat my Thai hippie sushi in just a second. But sometimes when I like do it later, like I'm so tired. So sometimes I like to do it and just sit around here today, you know, and just, or sit around and talk to the camera. What does Kim Kardashian have on that dress? What is that? Does it say thanks all over it? Thanks, girl. That's kind of a cute dress, I guess. Do you guys just lay around your house and make commentary on fashion and TV shows like all the time, and you're like, what the hell? Scott Disick does not get sober because he has no consequences, and because they keep on taking him out to lunches and dinners at Nobu, and all these people like Sophia Richie can... Why would Sophia Richie date him? Like, she needs to call up Khloe Kardashian and say, tell me why I shouldn't date Scott Disick. And Khloe Kardashian, her too, Kourtney Kardashian would say, you need to watch seasons 1 through 10 of the Kardashians, and then you'll know why you shouldn't date him. But unfortunately, you were 6 years old when they were on. I think that Sophia Richie is gorgeous. I do. But like... I don't know. Look at that ring on Kris Jenner's finger. Uh-oh. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, oh, Amelia commented on my video. She said, I love this and I love you. She's so sweet. It's interesting, like, what people are like when they're, like, not on YouTube, you know? Like, people are so very down to earth and real. They really are. Some of them are, I should say. Some of them aren't. Some of them are fakety. Do. I like really want to get into like a really good mystery book right now, and I am reading this Chalkman book. I have like 3.5 hours left of it, and I just cannot get into it at all. I just don't love it. It's called The Chalkman by C.J. Tudor, and Stephen King even like tweeted out, and he said, if you love my books, you'll love The Chalkman. I was like, I should have known. And I was like, that should be a sign right there, you know, of why I wouldn't like this book. Because I don't love Stephen King's books. Like, I think Stephen King is, like, really, like, you have to love him, you know, like you get to really appreciate him. You know what I mean? Tucker, do you like Stephen King? He says no. He was like, I don't like to read. I like to do makeup. He's our makeup dog. Now, Boo Radley likes coloring books and paper dolls. And Pee-Pee, he loves Debbie McComber and Nora Roberts and Danielle Steele. Tucker likes makeup. He loves to do the makeup and watch the makeup tutorials. Who's your favorite makeup person? Oh, he just loves that Laura Lee so much. You love Laura Lee? He says, oh, I think she's so pretty. He said, I just love her. I think she looks so pretty. I'm so happy when I get my tutorial to look just like her. You do? He says, oh yes, I love that Laura Lee. How about that Jaclyn Hill? Oh, I don't care for her so much. She's okay though. Who else do you love? Oh, that Nikki Tutorials. I think she's so pretty when she has her makeup on. Who else do you love, Tucker? He goes, let me see. Well, like that James Charles. Oh, Lord. Hello, hello, hello. So I've been listening to my audiobook, and now I'm done for the night, and I'm getting ready to go home. And I kind of saved, I'm drinking this. I saved my vlog till the end of the night. I'm drinking this Dasani sparkling water, and I'm not sure what I think of it. I don't love it. It's not bad, but it's not good either. But I'm thirsty and it's something to drink. I'm not a huge lover of sparkling water. Do you ever want to like things, but you just don't? I would love to like sparkling water, but I just really don't like it, you know? Which is funny, with alcohol, I can remember drinking and thinking that I would never be a whiskey drinker. And I drank vodka a lot, when I in high school and college. I drank a lot. My old friend Chris and I, when we lived together, we drank a lot of wine because it was really cheap to get a gallon of wine. But if I had to pick for the majority of my drinking career, I drank vodka and vodka tonics, which is kind of so funny to think that I drank vodka tonics, but I did, or vodka orange juice, vodka Sprite, what's it called, a Cape Cod, is that vodka cranberry, but I didn't really drink those a lot. In the winter, I sometimes would drink Captain Morgan's spiced rum with Coke. I would drink that with Coke, but I didn't love it. I did not love rum. And what's funny is that my friend Jim drank Jack Daniels, always. Since I always knew him, he drank Jack Daniels. And 2 years before I got sober, I started drinking Jack Daniels because of him. Because we would go out, he'd be like, do you want a shot of Jack? And I loved it. So I ended up becoming a Jack drinker, and I drank about 1.5 fifths of Jack Daniels a day, which is crazy when I look back on that. I remember we went to Nashville one time. So Jim and I were really good friends with this drag queen named Austria, and we would take her, when she had shows in other cities like Louisville or Nashville, we would drive her. And I remember when we went to Nashville, and she had to go early. She was at the Connection in Nashville. I think she actually still is in Nashville. I think she's at Play Nashville. I might be wrong though. But anyway, I haven't talked to her in years, 10 or 15 years. But so anyway, I remember Jim and I, we went to, we stayed in this shitty hotel. The Connection put us up in this shitty hotel. I remember we were so grossed out by it. And so we went to Louisville. We were in Louisville for a night, and then we were in Nashville for a night. So we got to Nashville really early, and I'm having all these memories of this trip. It's crazy. We were high the entire trip. I mean, I think I smoked pot the entire trip, just constantly. But I remember we took her to the club at noon. I don't know why she had to be there so early, but she was there early. I think, or maybe she went and hung out with some people she knew or something. But anyway, we went to the Jack Daniels distillery and did the tour. And I remember I was so pissed because we didn't get any free Jack Daniels. It's so funny. But when I would go out, Well, I always drank getting ready. Always. And I would usually drink a 40. I loved 40s, like Old English or like Colt 45 was probably my favorite. I love malt liquor. And I'd get a Colt 45 on the way home from wherever I was, and then while I was getting ready that night, I would drink the Colt 45 while I usually would drink it and take a Vicodin and start getting ready, and that's how I got ready for the night. And then by the time I got out, I mean, I don't know how much of my story I've actually told on here, but like I drank and used throughout the entire day. So when my friends saw me at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, like they thought I was cold stone sober and I had been using all day long. Like that's how much it took me to use to get to the point where people didn't know that I wasn't completely wasted, intoxicated. It's interesting because like there's like a smell to detoxing alcohol. And I don't know, like, if just the average person would know it, but like when you've been around alcoholics, like my mom had this smell like the next day a lot, and it reminded, like hers was very sweet because she either drank like martinis or she would drink wine or beer, so it was always this very sweet smell with perfume. It nauseated me. I still, to this day, I couldn't stand that smell. I can't stand the smell. But I ran into somebody that I knew not too long ago in the grocery store, and it was like, I could kind of like smell it on them, and I was like, I didn't realize you drank that much. But, you know, I mean, I didn't say anything to them, but it was like, it just was so strong, and I was like, and it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was like, God, you smell like that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was like a Friday, you know? I don't know. These are things that like I never would have thought were strange back then, but now I think it's strange, you know? And so, but anyway, I don't know how I masked my breath. I don't remember intentionally trying to like have people think that I hadn't been drinking or anything, but anyway. So then when I would go out, the last 2 years I exclusively hung out with my friend Jim. He doesn't drink or party or anything. We talked like a year and a half ago on the phone. It was weird. We had a conversation. I hadn't talked to him in like 15 years. He dated this guy that I ended up becoming very good friends with, and I didn't realize it, but he felt like I had kind of betrayed. He like pulled away from me and I didn't know why. And I didn't realize, like, we weren't that close anymore when they broke up. And so, like, I didn't realize that by being friends with him that he was upset about that, but I guess he was. And so it was interesting. You know, I had the opportunity to make an amends to him and for all of my behavior. That was kind of the intention of the phone call. And we talked for like an hour and a half on the phone, and you know, it's weird. I said to him, like, he has like a house out in the middle of nowhere now, and he like has a very serious job, and he just grew up. He wasn't an alcoholic or an addict, but you know, he said to me, we were like, let's get together and have, I mean, I really thought on the phone call that we would get together and have lunch and hang out and all this kind of stuff. I haven't talked to him since. And you know, I think in some kind of ways, and this is kind of weird, but like, you know, the saying that like friendships are like, people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Like, I hate to think that he only came into my life for like a season, you know, but like, I really think that's the case. Like, I just don't think we have a lot in common today, and you know, it was like no time had gone by on the phone. Like, you know, it was interesting. We had this like very nice conversation, and it was funny, and we laughed, and we kind of talked about all the people and, you know, what had happened to everybody that we used to be friends with back then. And I'm always the one that keeps tabs on everybody. So when I see people, they always ask me, like, they want to know, like, what happened to this person? What happened to that person? I always know. I don't know how, but I always know, you know, where everybody is today. And it's really sad. Like, I remember talking to him. We have so many friends of ours that are dead, you know, directly related to drugs and alcohol. Well, drugs, not alcohol. And it's just so sad, you know. It's like a whole like lost generation of really cool people that just was weird. I had this crush on this guy. Dare I say this? He still lives in my town. He has a very professional job and everything. And I had such a crush on this guy, okay? And I was not on his radar at all. He was like super muscular. He was like a shorter guy, but he was like super muscular and very attractive. And he had this boyfriend that was like tall, and they were like always together, but I knew they were kind of in the drug scene, which is kind of why like I wasn't that close with them. Like once I had a crush on him when I was using, but I was always a mess. But then I had a crush on him when I got sober and started going back out again too. I saw him, but by that point, it was weird. Between the time that I got sober and like 2 years later when I started going out again a lot, the gay community in Indianapolis had really changed. Like crystal methamphetamine had taken over, and that was not prevalent when I was out using. I probably would be dead right now if it was, honestly. But you know, like the whole Tina, that's what they call it, Tina, or they did, that whole crystal methamphetamine craze took over the gay community, and you know, there were all these after-hour parties that would go on until 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I just wasn't down with it. And I mean, I had my 1 or 2 friends that I did stuff with, and that was that. But anyway, I had this huge crush on this guy, and the other day I was like, I wonder what happened to him. Like, something made me think about him, and I was like, I wonder if he's dead, or, well, I can't say what he does because I don't know who watches my vlog. So I had to edit part of this out because I was talking about the crush, and then I went in there and I like said what he did, and I thought, you know what, like I'm not about that. I'm not about outing people with their stuff that they do, and that was his life, and I don't have any right to do that. So, but anyway, I looked him up, and because like I was doing something that made me think of his career, and so he's still around, and I saw a picture of him, and I was like, oh my god, is that him? Like, he doesn't even look like the same guy anymore, you know? It was crazy. So, but anyway, so many people that I just don't even know what happened to them anymore, you know? And like names are going through my head as I'm saying this, you know? So many people that I used to just hang out with and go to parties with, and that I saw regularly, like, you know, 2, 3, 4 nights a week. Some of them daily. I don't even know what happened to any of these people anymore. You know, a couple of them I do. But anyway, we said we were going to get together and do something. We just didn't, you know, and it's weird. It's kind of like, I think maybe that whole phone call kind of served its purpose. I don't think really, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what our friendship would be like today. It's weird because it was so long ago, you know, like, my mom really liked him, though. He and his roommate were the only 2 people that came to visit me in treatment. And Austria came to visit me in treatment. I didn't want anybody to come, and they came anyway. They said, we're not going to let you be on be here for Christmas by yourself. But they didn't stay for very long. They came, I didn't want them there. I didn't want anybody to come visit me in treatment. I wanted to be completely alone. But anyway, so yeah, I was a Jack Daniels drinker back in the day. And you know what's funny is, I can remember like, when my dad, when I was younger, would drink beer, and I'd be like, can I have a sip of that beer? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, and I'd have a sip of the beer. Like, I mean, you know, in high school or younger than that. Not high school, by then I was drinking beer, but younger than that. And what's funny about it is that I ended up being somebody that like loved beer. And by the end, and this is, you guys just need to know, this is before the IPA thing. I don't even understand that shit, okay? This is before the breweries. I mean, this was when beer was like Miller Genuine Draft, you know, Tall Boys weren't even really that big of a, nobody drank them because they were cheap. You know, but I mean, it was like, good beer was like Heineken. I drank a lot of Red Stripe back in the day. But, you know, it was like, I don't know, I loved beer towards the end. And this is so weird. The only alcohol I ever miss, if I miss alcohol, is a beer. Like, I don't ever miss, like, I don't ever think to myself, you know, like, what do you call it? Like a mixed drink. It never sounds good to me, ever. And sometimes when Alex drinks red wine, like, I like the smell of it. And because Alex is like really into red wines. And I'd like to have, he drinks, God, I should know this. I don't know why it matters. Not Merlot, but it starts with an M. But anyway, I wanted to get like a Cabernet candle. He doesn't drink Cabernet, but I want to get like a Cabernet candle or something like that, you know, and, because I like the smell of red wine, but I don't want to drink, obviously. So yeah, that was my drinking back in the day. I drank so much. So much. I don't know how I masked it with my friends, but I will tell you that at school, at the end, like my professor said, she said something to me, the one that kicked me out of the class. I talked about that on here before. Well, I was in this class called Victorian Literature, and I had stayed up all night reading this book, George Eliot's Middlemarch, and writing a paper on it. It was like a 1,200-page book. I don't even remember the book. I drank the whole time I was writing it and reading it. And I went to class. I never showed up in class. And I went to class to turn in this paper. It was like 50% of our grade. And she was standing in the doorway. She wouldn't let me go in. And I said, well, I'm here for class. And she was like, no, I'm not going to let you. You need to drop out of this class. And I was like, dropping out of this class? What are you talking about? And she was like, you don't ever show up for class. 50% is a discussion. And she said, and when you are here, you smell like a distillery. And people are complaining about that you smell like alcohol in class. I can't have you continue to come in here. And I'll never forget, she put her hand on my shoulder and she looked at me and she said, Peter, I'm really worried about you. She said, you know, like, things are really out of control. Like, I don't know that you know that. And I'm going to tell the story, the whole story, because there's more to it later. I'm going to tell it on my Peterisms channel, because I'm like pre-filming some videos from when we go to Florida. So you'll have to stay tuned and hear it on there. But it's a good story. I've shared it on here before. It's just like weird to think of what my life was like back then, you know? It's just like, I had no concept of reality whatsoever. That is so funny. I was talking in my main video about that, Thunder Down Under, and there was a billboard for it right there. I mean, I was entitled. I thought people owed me something. It's interesting because I can remember telling people how depressed I was all the time, but like, I wasn't. Like, I didn't have clinical depression. I mean, I really didn't. I had a fear. Because I knew, I had enough self-realization to know that this couldn't go on. And I think a lot of my drinking and drugging had to do with me kind of this very Scarlett O'Hara attitude of just like, I'll deal with this tomorrow, you know? Because like, I was so behind in school, my grades were so bad, I couldn't realistically see myself ever getting a real job. The only job I had ever had was dealing drugs. And I wasn't any good at it. And I just had no idea what I was gonna do, you know, like for money. My dad and my stepmom were barreling in on me. My mom was a complete mess at the time. And I just hadn't, I think I was totally afraid to like grow up. And I don't mean like I was afraid of being like a man. I mean, like, I was afraid of growing up. Like, I didn't know what that looked like. I had no idea. My contact just got really cloudy. I had no idea, like, how to take care of myself whatsoever. I had no idea how to do that. And I thought, I can remember thinking to myself, like, this college thing is only going to last so, like, I'm getting to the end. Like, what am I going to do? You know, like, I mean, who's going to hire me and how am I going to pay my bill? I mean, I had no idea. I was so terrified of real life. And it's so weird how, like, when I got sober, like, I turned into this completely different person, you know? Not that I don't have fear, because I do, and I think fear is a very real part of addiction. And that's why we talk so much about fear. 100 forms of fear. But, you know, like, I kind of, like, that went away a little bit, and it was, like, exchanged by, like, inspiration and motivation. Like, I wanted to be a different person. And I was no longer, like, afraid to live a life, you know? Hiccuping like crazy. I just wasn't. I was like, okay, like, I'm ready to have a life now, you know? And I think it's so weird when I look back on that. You know, it's just like, I talked about this, I think, on here about how I thought about writing a book. Like, what would have happened to me that night, like, if I hadn't, like, gotten sober, you know? It's very scary to me, because I don't really think I'd be here. And I think about, like, all the missed opportunities I would have had. You know, all the people, I wouldn't be married to Alex. I wouldn't have my dogs. And it makes me really sad, you know? And, like, it makes me sad because of all of the people out there that are missing out on life because they're drinking and drugging. And it's like, the thing is like, when you try to live a right life and you try to live a good life, I believe that you're surrounded by good people and good things. And it may not always be the most exciting life, you know? It might not be. But, you know, if you're cooking, you know, meals for your kids and getting them off to school and trying to work a job and trying to be a good boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, and cleaning the house and making the bed and doing the laundry, like, all of that shit that sounds like so mundane. And it may be, you know, but, like, at the same time, I feel like those are the things in life that, like, really matter, you know? Like, I don't know. I think we're so consumed with seeing, like, the Kardashians on TV and, you know, movies and all this kind of stuff, you know, that, like, we think, like, reality, that's reality, when that's not reality at all, you know? Reality is not, I mean, those things are nice, but I don't base my life on that today, you know? And it's like, I don't know, when I started living a right life, things just kind of started taking care of themselves. I don't think by any means I have everything in the world. I don't have everything I want. Do I have everything I need? Absolutely. And I feel very blessed about that, but I don't have everything I want. I never will have everything I want, and I don't need to have everything I want, and I don't deserve everything I want, you know? And if I got what I deserved, my life would look very differently, you know, because if I got what I deserved back then, I'd probably be dead or in prison, you know? It's like, one of the things that's strange to me is, like, I have no tolerance whatsoever for people that drink and drive. None whatsoever. And I loathe it. It's like, I don't know, I just have huge issues with it. And I used to drink and drive all the time. I mean, all the time. It was never a question to me. I never thought about taking a cab. Ubers didn't exist. I wanted to be at home, and I wanted to be in my bed, and that was where I wanted to be at the end of the night, you know? And I didn't care what people told me. That's where I wanted to be. And I can remember, like, friends of mine would try to take my keys and I'd just leave. And my friends, after a while, some of them just kind of stopped fighting me on it, because they were like, he's gonna go, you know, just let him go, is probably what their attitude was like. And I was gonna go, so you were either gonna fight me or I was gonna go. And like, another thing is, I'm really weird about throwing trash out of my car window. Like, I don't do it. I just don't like it. And I think it's one small way that we can contribute to the environment. And I used to throw bottles out of the car window all the time. I mean, just drink a beer, throw it out. Drink a beer, throw it out. My friend Chris and I, we used to drive home, and, like, she would be leaning over here and I'd be like this, and we would drive and she'd say, a little to the right. Okay, a little bit more to the right. All right, a little to the left. Oh my God, you're doing so good. And that was how we got home. I mean, how sad. That is really scary. I mean, I am so lucky I did not kill somebody or kill myself. My dad, one time, I came to his house, and I was, like, at the pool. I can't remember what happened, but, like, my friend Jenny, she doesn't drink like this at all anymore. She's, like, real settled down, but, like, she and I, like, she brought like a bunch of alcohol in a keg out there, and then somebody else went and took my car and it just was a mess. But anyway, my dad was so furious when he came home, and he said, "How did you get here?" And I said, "I drove." And he goes, "You drove like that? You drove intoxicated?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, he was so mad. I'll never forget. He just stopped and he looked up at the house. And, you know, my dad has worked his ass off ever since he was 15 years old. And he looked up at his house, and I'll never forget, he kind of put his hand, like, you know, on his chin like that. And he said, "I'm not willing to lose everything that I have worked my entire life for because you don't care about what you do with yours." And he looked at me and he goes, "You're going to kill somebody, and you're not going to be able to live with yourself." He goes, "That's going to be the end for you." And like, of all the things, like, my dad has said a lot of things to me that really stood out to me. That one, like, it didn't mean anything at the time. It did not mean anything to me at the time. But I remember I stayed there, and he made me sleep it off, and then I went home, like, at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. He was already asleep, and I stopped at a liquor store on the way home. I mean, that's how much I learned from it, you know? But then years later, looking back on that, like, I remember that. And I mean, I really remember him saying that. And I think to myself, God, he was so right. I was going to kill somebody. And I didn't even know. And I didn't even care. You know, I had no concept of how I was affecting other people's lives. And the other thing is, I had to have a family session when I was in treatment. And we would have these family groups. And then, like, you had to have your wife or husband, or, you know, I had my dad come. I was not having my mom come in there because she just was too loose-lipped, and she probably would have been drinking before she got in there anyway, and I just didn't know what would happen, and I was like, I'm having my dad come. And I had to have somebody come and have a family session before I got out of there. I couldn't get out of treatment until I had that. So he came over, suit and tie. He's sitting in there, you know, in the middle of the group, and they just have us, like, look at each other. And I had to give my drug history to my dad. And my dad, I'll never forget when I told him that I was doing cocaine and smoking rock cocaine. And a single tear just fell down his face. And he said, "I understand the alcohol. I can even understand the marijuana and the pills. I don't understand cocaine." And he stood up, and I'll never forget this. He stood up and he looked at me, and he pointed right at my chest, and he said, "You're pissing your life away, and you don't even realize it." And he goes, "Here you go. Here's your family session. Now you can get out of treatment." And he walked out of the room. And I was blown away. I mean, I thought I was doing everything right in treatment, you know? And I mean, and that to me, that was not a moment that I needed to wait for later. Like, I remember going back to my room and being like, I'm pissing my life away. Like, he's right. Like, everybody else that I know is going on with their life, and I'm pissing my life away. Like, I have nothing. And it was so terrifying to me, you know, that I just was like, it's time to do something different. Like, the party is over and you don't even realize it. That my friends that came to visit me at Christmas, they were telling me about my friend Peter that, like, had moved to, like, New York, and he and his boyfriend had bought, like, some apartment, and he was a pastry chef. I mean, it just was craziness. And I was like, I'm sitting here and I'm drinking, like, and doing drugs all day long, and even my closest friends have no real concept of what my life looks like, you know? Like, they have none. It's just, it's out of control, and they don't even know it. Because I'm embarrassed for even my closest friends to know how bad it is for me. And, because if they knew, they wouldn't have tolerated it, you know? Like, they wouldn't, I just don't think they would have tolerated it on the same level. I had a couple friends of mine that got sober after I did, but the majority of them, like, they really did not drink and use the same exact way that I did. You know, they weren't sitting at home all day long. They all had jobs, first of all. All of them waited tables, you know. All of them were in school, studying, which I never did. They were going home for Thanksgiving and weekend dinners. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't even invited to the last Thanksgiving, you know. Crazy. So if I trade that all away for, you know, a simple life today, I'm completely fine with that. I love my life, you know. I love my dogs and my husband and our little house and getting to travel a couple times a year. I feel like I have a miraculous life. I feel like my life is a gift. So I'm gonna pull into the gas station and get a stick of cheese and something else to drink other than this. And then I'm gonna go home so I can start the whole day off over tomorrow. I have meetings all day tomorrow. I wish my book would be like a bestseller and then I could just, the thing is, I would probably never quit doing what I'm doing. Like, I say that, I mean, like, if I won the lottery, yeah, I would. I mean, I'm not stupid, okay? I hate when people say, if I won $300 million in the Powerball, I would keep on working at the factory. No, you wouldn't. Don't even lie. You're a liar. You wouldn't. Don't say that. You're a liar. I hate when people say that. I would quit. I would quit this. I mean, as soon as that ticket, I'd call it, that would be my first call, would be quitting. But anyway, but it would be nice to have a bestseller and then, you know, it'd be nice to have a bestseller anyway. That's kind of a pipe dream of mine, I guess, just to see my name on that list, even if it's just for a day. The Oscars are this weekend. I'd like to win an Oscar, too. You think that'll ever happen in my life? Probably not, but I can still dream, you know? Geraldine Page won an Oscar for Trip to Bountiful, and she was in her 70s. So I always think about that, you know. Well, all right, you guys, I'm gonna go get my cheese and something to drink, a little juice or something. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I love you. Bye.